Hi, this is javinkharod, a chemical engineer by profession, going to continue our today's topic, pitot tube. Now, what is that? A pitot tube is an instrument for measuring a flowing fluid velocity. Pitot tube are used and manometer to calculate airspeed, wind tunnel, and aircraft in flight. There are also measured flow liquid. Now, what is pitot tube? A simple answer. A pitot tube or pitot probe is a flow measurement appliance used in calculate fluid flow velocity. French engineer Henri Pitot invented pitot tube in early 18th century. In the mid of 19th century, French scientist Henri Darcy alternate to its modern form. Pitot tubes are widely utilized to determine boats, water speed, airspeed of an aircraft and measure air, liquid and gas flow velocity in various industrial applications. Now, pitot tube construction and working. A pitot tube consists two hollow tubes that measure pressure at various places within the pipe. The tube gauge are impact, stagnation pressure, and the other tube measure only static pressure. Usually at the pipe hole, the hollow tube can be mounted separately in a pipe or installed together in a one casing or single device. Pitot tube working principle. The pitot tube meter comprises a tube that is directed toward the flow. The fluid penetrates through impact hole, and apart from this, there can be two more holes, pitot tube, that act static pressure sources. Another pressure sensing component should be installed on meter or measure the static pressure. The tube axis measure the static pressure should be free from burr so that boundary is smooth and it should be perpendicular to the boundary. The pitot static tube, that is static pressure inlet, are cylinder with one and open other end closed. The fluid streaming through pipeline enter the pitot tube and rest there. Another section within pitot tube is filled with fluid with static pressure. A diaphragm separate both chambers. The measured dynamic pressure is given difference in level between the liquid in tube and free surface. Measuring the impact, the static pressure connected, the proper differential pressure meter determine flow velocity and thus the flow rate. Flow rate is computed from the square root of the pressure. In estimate the flow rate from pressure, the calculation is depend on factors such as location of static tap and tube design. The pitot static problem include the static hole in the tube system eradicate the para. The pitot tube advantage. Now what's pitot tube is a portable and does not contain any moving part. It is economical, permanent pressure loss is low. Pitot tube can be easily installed on existing system. Now its disadvantage. Foreign material in a fluid can easily obstruct in pitot tube and disrupt normal reading. Less accurate, low range. Now its applications. Pitot tube is used utility stream, it is used air duct and pipe system, it is used aircraft to measure airflow velocity, and they are used to mapping flow profile, channel or duct. Now basic pitot tube consists tube pointing directly into fluid flow. As this tube contains fluid, pressure can be measured. The moving fluid is brought to rest. There are no outlets to allow flow to continue. The pressure is the stagnation pressure of the fluid. Also known the total pressure or perpendicularly in aviation pitot pressure. The measured stagnation pressure cannot itself use determine fluid flow velocity, airspeed in aviation. However, Bernoulli's equation state written as stagnation pressure is equal to static pressure plus dynamic pressure. The dynamic pressure is the difference between the stagnation pressure and static pressure. dynamic pressure is the determined using a diaphragm inside enclosed container. If air of one side on the diaphragm is a static pressure, the other stagnation pressure, then deflection of the diaphragm is proportional to the dynamic pressure. Instead, the separate pitot and static port, pitot static tube may be employed, which has second tube coaxial with the pitot tube with hole on the side outside the direct airflow to measure the static pressure. If liquid column manometer is used to measure pressure differences. In industries, flow velocity measures are often flowing in duct and tubing where measurement by andrometer would be difficult to obtain. In this kind measurement, most practical instrument to use pitot tube are inserted through small hole duct and pitot connect U-tube water gauge and some other differential pressure gauge for determining flow velocity inside ducted wind tunnel. Other use of this technique determine volume of air that is being delivered in conditioned space. Now flowing flow rate in duct can be estimated from volume flow rate cubic feet per minute is equal to duct area square feet into multiply flow velocity feet per minute, volume flow rate cubic meter per second, duct area square meter into flow velocity meter per second. In aviation, airspeed typically measured in knots. The weather station with high wind speed and pitot tube modified create a special type of an areometer called pitot tube static andrometer. There are some practical limitations pitot tube. They are: if velocity is low, differences in pressure is very small and hard to accurately measure, the transducer error in the instrument will be greater measurement. So pitot static tube don't work very well for very low velocity. If velocity is very high, supersonic, we have violated assumption of the Bernoulli's equation. The measurement wrong again at the front of the tube, the shock wave appear and will change the total pressure. The correction for shock wave that applied allow us to pitot static tube high speed aircraft. If the tube become clogged or pinch, resulting pressure, the transducer are not total static pressure of external flow. The transducer output is used to calculate velocity, that is the actual velocity of the flow. Now, how does pitot tube work? The front hole estimates stagnation pressure while the side opening measures static pressure. The differences between the two measurements is called dynamic pressure. This is what use estimate airspeed. Now, what is pitot tube used? Pitot tube measures airspeed aboard aircraft in flight and wind tunnel. They also measure flow of liquid. Now, can pitot tube measure a static pressure? Pitot tube gauge total and static pressure from which air velocity can be calculated. The pitot tube is inserted into duct, tip pointed toward the airflow. Now, how does measure pressure using a pitot tube? Dynamic pressure is given by differential pressure calculus between both pressure. The measured dynamic pressure is given by differences level between liquid, tube and free surfaces. Okay, this is up to our today's topic, pitot tube. I hope you get sufficient knowledge after watching my video. Next Sunday we have covered some another chemical engineering topics. Till then, goodbye. Do take good care of yourself.